when shows fight with each other, and I think no better time for a camp fight than the training camp report.
Training camp coverage powered by Classic Ford and Classic Chevy and Minter.
So what did you think of Dillon Gabriel's performance on Saturday? I'm going somewhere with this. Relax, everybody.
I thought, granted I had a very low bar, but I thought it was decent.
Decent. Fair? Can I say fair?
Sure.
Okay, I'm saying fair. Nick and Jonathan not so thrilled, especially with the interception. Here's Nick and Jonathan yesterday on Afternoon Drive.
I thought Dillon Gabriel was fine on Saturday. And then I heard the analysis both on the broadcast. Joe Thomas had some very complimentary things to say. Nathan, at the end of the game, had some very nice things to say. Our morning show had some very nice things to say.
Yeah.
And it was left me thinking, like...
Did we watch the same thing?
Shedeur led 3 scoring drives and passed for 2 touchdowns. Not a perfect game, by the way. But in his bounty of work, never came close to a turnover. And everyone who said that last Monday was accused of going over and above in like deference to Shedeur. And then today I saw a quarterback in Dillon Gabriel who had 2 considerable turnovers, which I believe to be his fault exactly. It was bad ball placement from Dillon. It really wasn't on Pierre Strong. And then that throw was just Dillon getting stubborn and doing the thing he's not supposed to do. He's got the supercomputer, right? The super processor. Mm-hmm. That's the moment where he's supposed to shine and just throw the ball away.
Thoughts before we go on to another clip?
Absolutely, I have thoughts. The Shedeur 2 touchdown passes were awesome. That's much better than I said about anything that Gabriel did. But the scoring drives that he led, are we calling that a scoring drive that he led? Remember
the opening drive, there was 13 plays.
No. The first touchdown was after they punted the ball.
Oh, Shedeur.
And he had a short field. They went 5 plays, 14 yards, and they ran the ball for a first down on that drive. He then punted. Bjorkes punted. And remember, it was the dude named Watson that recovered the fumble.
Nathaniel Watson.
And I made my joke about, hey, that's the biggest play a Browns player named Watson had in the last 4 years in the NFL.
You should be at the top of that. Hey-o.
And they recovered the ball and had a short field to work with, and they threw the beautiful touch. I wouldn't say he led a touchdown. Not all touchdown drives led or created equal. Let's not make that sound like it was an 11-play historic Joe Montana sees John Candy in the end zone, and the myth was born, the legend was born about the drive. Are we just box score watching at that point?
I don't know what Shedeur saw in the end zone.
Yeah.
Might as well, hey, that's Ric Flair over there.
That's
all right,
right.
Let's go.
But anyway, we all agreed. I mean, the touchdown passes were awesome. So I thought that was pretty clear that Shedeur had the better start.
I'll tell you something. If Shedeur thought John Candy was somewhere in the stands, I think we need to get Shedeur drug tested. So that's one show's analysis. Here is Jake Volnick yesterday, which set social media ablaze.
Fans use an evaluation, which in a lot of ways is the eye test, and just seeing, all right, well, was Shedeur, did he impress me more? Did I watch it and go, that's an NFL quarterback compared to watching Dillon play? And I think if you use that evaluation, Shedeur looked better. It's like, okay, he's making plays out of nothing. He's putting the ball on the money. He didn't turn the ball over. All those things worked. But I think the way that NFL teams and the Browns specifically might evaluate a quarterback. Yeah, I think there was a lot more things to look at from Dillon to say this was cleaner football. But yes, the pick six, the turnovers, that aside, which I get, I'm not just throwing those away, but like you put those moments aside of, okay, a bad decision to throw the football and a miscommunication or a misstep from you on a handoff to Pierre Strong. He operated very quickly, which I thought Shedeur did too. Made good throws and eliminated a lot of the question mark plays that Shedeur had brought up on tape and Shedeur has consistently brought up on tape throughout his career. Like, when we hear Kevin talk, I mean, go back to last year. This is not a new philosophy that is just, this is what Kevin's applying for this season.
Other than the interception and the turnover. Hey, other than Waterloo, hell of a career by that Napoleon. Like, what does that mean? I'm not trying to pick on him. He's a young man, and I think he does a good job. But I don't know which one I want to agree with there, because in yesterday, Nick had said, and I remember this, Nick had said, like, he had not come close to a turnover. And I go, ooh, there was one that I think we're being selective here. Talking about Shedeur, because there was one that was dropped. There was an interception that was dropped that Shedeur had thrown. Hey, I loved what Shedeur did.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Out of the two rookies, I picked Shedeur's performance as the better one. But I also don't think that Dillon Gabriel played clean football. How did he play clean football? Fumbling a handoff to your running back's clean football, that's as sloppy as it gets. That's the thing that makes you want to break clipboards. Fumbled handoffs?
Yeah,
that's not clean.
That's
really dirty.
That's the stuff that they will sit there and drill and drill and drill and drill over and over again.
So who's right and who's wrong about Dillon Gabriel? I want to know. Who's right and who's wrong?
Me and you are kind of on the same page on this.
I thought it was a fair performance. I know some people got worked into a shoot about Super Bowl, Super Browns. Guys, you gotta learn to not get worked into a shoot on these things, okay? Or you're not gonna enjoy anything in life. Some of the people who are new just joining us here, I know there's new people every day, especially with all that's going on. I thought we were fair. I thought it was a fair performance. I like Shedeur's better. How's that? Why is that so hard to say?
It's we just don't need to lie about certain aspects of either quarterback's performance based on what your thoughts were on the quarterback ahead of time. Yeah. That happened. God, I'll never forget. I'll never forget hanging out at a house over on the east side with like 10 guys watching Hoyer and Manziel, and nobody could come to terms with it. We had half the room was a Manziel. In the Manziel camp, half the room was in the Hoyer camp. Both pathetic camps, let's be honest. And I'll be texting Brian not to listen to this segment.
One's welcome on the show, one's not.
But you know what I mean? It's like, in the end, it's probably going to be the same case here. We're going to look back at this 5 years from now and go, we really argued over Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel, 3rd and 5th round pick. But as it stands, I mean, that's what we have to argue over since we didn't get to see Flacco in the preseason. And the reality is that people are incapable of hiding their bias on this stuff. Anybody that proclaims, Kenny, like over the top, I'm going into this with a fair and balanced, it's like, no, I don't believe you. I don't believe anybody's capable of it. I think everybody chose their fighter, and most of it, I don't even think, by the way, the anti-Shedeur people, I don't even think they hate Shedeur. I think they hate his fans. I think they hate his fans that don't even live in Cleveland. I think they hate his fans.
It's left over from the old man. I think it's left over from Deion. I used to get the side eye all the time about being a Deion fan when I was a kid. I think part of it has to do with Dad. I think part of it has to do with, he's good. Colorado is not this great big fan base the way, like, I could understand Oklahoma fans getting on our mentions and coming after us about Baker way back in the day.
Yeah.
That's a tremendously large fan base, one of the biggest in the country. If he had played at Alabama, if he'd have played at Ohio State, Michigan, whatever it might be, Colorado's not that big of a fan base. But he has his fans on his own. So I think that they might be haters because I think that some are just tired of craziness going on and they want quiet. I'm not. I want to see what Shedeur has. But still, I'm just trying to be as fair as I possibly can. I liked Shedeur Sanders' performance better. Which show is right? Which show's wrong? Who's right? Who's wrong? Which show was right? Which show was wrong about the performance of Dillon Gabriel? It has taken off. It's gone nuts. We said fair. Is that our official word for it for us?
Yeah.
Official show stance, fair? All of us in agreement.
All variations of, all right.
Fair. Do we all believe that Shedeur Sanders was better in his performance against Carolina? We go to Anthony Lima. Mm-hmm. We go to Owen Laudeman.
I thought he was much more impressive.
Mitch, you there? Okay, he says yes. I say yes as well. So official show stance. We believe Shedeur was better. But, and I'm going to put you on the spot here. I want to line up those two clips real quick, and then we're going to go to these phones here. Because we do have a difference of opinion, and I do think both can be accused, and certainly we throw stones because you could certainly throw stones at us. Nick, Jonathan, Jake, go right on ahead, guys. But I think there's a little bit of revisionist history here. Here is Nick and Jonathan on the interception, the pick six of Dillon Gabriel.
I thought Dillon Gabriel was fine on Saturday. And then I heard the analysis both on the broadcast. Joe Thomas had some very complimentary things to say. Nathan, at the end of the game, had some very nice things to say. Our morning show had some very nice things to say.
Yeah.
And it was left me thinking, like...
Did we watch the same thing?
Shedeur led 3 scoring drives and passed for 2 touchdowns. Not a perfect game, by the way. But in his bounty of work, never came close to a turnover. And everyone who said that last last Monday was accused of going over and above in like deference to Shedeur. And then today I saw a quarterback in Dillon Gabriel who had 2 considerable turnovers, which I believe to be his fault exactly. It was bad ball placement from Dillon. It really wasn't on Pierre Strong. And then that throw was just Dillon getting stubborn and doing the thing he's not supposed to do. He's got the supercomputer, right? The super processor. Mm-hmm. That's the moment where he's supposed to shine and just throw the ball away.
I see what they say. I think there was, you got 2 guys standing right there. You threw it at him. Guy made a great play on the ball. Their second-round pick from Texas. His name is Skate Makuba. He made a great play on the ball. Took off with it. 75-yard pick 6. I got Deontay Johnson accidentally standing right next to Blake Whitehart.
You got Deontay Johnson getting cut. If you want to see what getting cut looks like, it's that visual right there.
Well, I thought for sure, because we're so desperate for anybody, I thought he might be a shoo-in to make the team. Zach said, no. And Nathan and Joe aren't going to rip the guy on their own broadcast for crying out loud, so that wasn't going to happen. And I think I'll tell you this.
Since then, Dan Orlovsky went over the tape, said it wasn't his fault. Coach Riz, right? He went and looked at the tape, said it wasn't his fault.
Lance Reisland, yeah.
And I look, I'm not X's and O football guy, but part of being a quarterback isn't just, hey, a guy's open, now throw the football. Part of it is, hey, this is where the play is supposed to go. Let's throw the football where we have anticipation, maybe some chemistry that we think is building.
Even if you got 2 guys standing there, you expect it to bounce off of one of their arms, not go right into the arms of the cornerback.
I think the last thing you expect is neither of the targets that are right next to the football to look at the football and go after the football or try to break up a potential turnover that costs your team 6.
But a turnover, and even though I disagree with the never came close to a turnover statement that Nick had said about Shedeur, where I like Shedeur's play better. I always have to couch that, by the way. You notice how that works? Because I think some of us
to make sure people hear the whole thing.
Well, because I think some of us have gotten used to the pressure that's on, and I think maybe that's why we went a little bit overboard a couple weeks ago. Fair. Guilty as charged as well. But when he says never came close to a turnover, nearly got picked off by the middle linebacker there, if I'm not mistaken. But here's Jake on the other side of that, where this, I gotta say, there's one spot in particular I really disagree with Jake on overtime with Jake Volnick.
Fans use an evaluation, which in a lot of ways is the eye test, and just seeing, all right, well, was Shedeur, did he impress me more? Did I watch it and go, that's an NFL quarterback compared to watching Dillon play? And I think if you use that evaluation, Shedeur looked better. It's like, okay, he's making plays out of nothing. He's putting the ball on the money. He didn't turn the ball over. All those things worked. But I think the way that NFL teams and the Browns specifically might evaluate a quarterback. I think there was a lot more things to look at from Dillon to say this was cleaner football. But yes, the pick 6, the turnovers, that aside, which I get, I'm not just throwing those away, but like you put those moments aside of, okay, a bad decision to throw the football and a miscommunication or a misstep from you on a handoff to Pierre Strong. He operated very quickly, which I thought Shedeur did too. Made good throws and eliminated a lot of the question mark plays that Shedeur had brought up on tape and Shedeur has consistently brought up on tape throughout his career. Like, when we hear Kevin talk, I mean, go back to last year. This is not a new philosophy that is just, this is what Kevin's applying for this season.
So I hear Jake, and when he says cleaner, I totally disagree with that. That's as dirty as you can get, fumbling handoffs. The questionable plays, if I were 100% in the Shedeur camp, like some of the Shedeur folks, I would knock that right away and say, well, I mean, Dillon Gabriel has played with the best of the best over the last 4 years, 3 years at least of his college career. Colorado, yes, you had Travis Hunter. It's debatable whether or not he was a wide receiver or a cornerback and which one you would really play him at. But he's a very, 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 very good player. So we'll go with Travis Hunter there. Joe Horn Jr. was a very good wide receiver as well. There were a lot of guys that were transitioning into school by the time fall came around. And you also start off with a talent deficit where you started off taking over a 1-11 football team. Oklahoma and Oregon were in much better situations. Okay? But I'm not here to go over the past like a lot of us do. I need to look to the future. And as I look to the future, I can only go back to the last 2 weeks. Shedeur versus Carolina, Dillon Gabriel versus the Eagles. The Eagles are a better all-around franchise than what you have with the Carolina Panthers. Okay, you can mix that in. But damn it, still, I would take Shedeur's performance over Dillon Gabriel's performance. I think it's only fair to say. If we're all trying to be fair, the whole room, Owen don't see it through Browns-colored glasses. He ain't no excitable boy like me. You don't see it certainly like me. Whole room says that. Let's go to you guys. Which show was right? Which show was wrong? John in Cleveland. Hello, John.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
Doing well, John. Go right on ahead.
So before I start, I haven't been able to listen in to you guys for a few months. I had moved out of town. Mama, you're a family man now?
Oh, yeah.
Few months. That's like 3 years.
Twilight Zone?
Things have changed.
Yeah, he's got kids and all, man.
I know. I was listening yesterday because I moved back and I got a day job. And I'm like, what?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I got to watch Shedeur play in Colorado. I'm 34. I did not get to see Deion play. I can't believe this is a debate. We were blessed to get him in the 5th round, especially with that contract with Deshaun. This is a chance for us to turn this thing around. I'm not going to knock Dillon because I don't know much about him. But what I will say is that Shedeur's first touchdown in the league is in triple coverage. And he did that in college consistently. This should not be a debate.
Well, John, because you just hit on it right there. This is what I have to fight. Because he may play later on this year, and he may show he has none of it. Okay? We're not out of the woods with Shedeur Sanders, right? But I have to be willing to. I have to be willing to see that, John, because I feel the same way you do. I feel that this could be somebody dumped into our lap, and I'm going to be hopeful for him because I think he has a much higher ceiling than Dillon Gabriel. So if I think that, I'm hoping that we can find some way to luck into digging ourselves out of this hole that we've got into with the Deshaun Watson contract. I would love it to be that way, but I don't want. By the time early November comes around or late October, I don't want to be sitting there denying the truth because I'm so desperate to get ourselves out of the hell that we've dug for ourselves.
We have so much to do. I'm perfectly fine with Flacco starting. Let him sit, let him learn. But I'm with you. The ceiling is much higher. And my heart was in my stomach. I thought the Steelers were going to take him after we didn't. So the fact that we still got him, I listen. Let Flacco start, let him learn, and let's get this thing going.
John, thank you very much for the call. Demos and Shaker, you're next up on the fan. Hello, Demos.
Good morning. So, as you guys know, I've stated on the air, I like both these young quarterbacks. And I honestly, when you ask who's right, which show, neither one of you are right yet because the sample size isn't big enough, Ken. You just brought up the whole notion that the Eagles' second-string defense might be better than Carolina's starting.
I would imagine they are. But it wasn't all starters. There was a handful.
No,
but
I get
fine.
it. No, I get it. I'm just generally speaking. Okay, yeah. What I'm saying is, though, that for these two guys to have shown what we have, everybody should be optimistic and not worry about, like who's going to come out on top. The best player is going to come out on top, and it's too soon to tell. So my biggest concern right now is getting Kenny Pickett on the field so we can get him as proper trade bait that he really is. Because that was the whole reason why, when they picked Shedeur, I knew that's what was going to happen. So let's get Kenny Pickett out there and get something 5th or higher for him.
Well, I think by this time here, Demos, I think it's more realistic to maybe look at him maybe starting the season on the IR. I mean, we'll find out more later today. Maybe I'll be wrong. Hopefully I am. But damn it,
that way we can keep him on the roster, right? If he's on the IR. Yeah. So, but I don't want him.
Demos, it's so abrupt. I don't want him here. That's fair. 216-474-0092. Brent in Virginia, you're next up on the fan. He's listening on the free Odyssey. Go ahead, Brent.
Hey, guys, what's going on? It all depends on, between Gabriel and Sanders. It all depends on what you want out of a quarterback. For what I saw, looking at both games and evaluating, and it wasn't that I was trying to look for mistakes. I was trying to look at the general characteristics of each player. Do you want a person who guns the ball downfield and forces it in, or do you want someone who likes to float it in and makes catching a ball like a breadbasket case, like the one-handed catch that was done with Sanders? And so, doing those plays, when I looked at them, I saw how do they evaluate getting out of trouble when trouble presented itself in blitz situations. Mm-hmm. And it appeared that Sanders was the better version of it, almost mimicking, I would say, Elway, if I had done a comparison. I don't want to say anything as far as, putting Watson into comparison regarding with Gabriel because I was seeing too much happy feet, too much rushing to where he was trying to impress with speed and force accuracy. So that's what I take out of it.
All right,
so.
Brent, thank you very much for the call. Yeah, even
An
going back
Elway
to what,
comparison.
That's strong. Even going back to what Demos was saying, it is unfair. That's the only thing I have to go on. I can go off of one half and a little bit of Shedeur Sanders. I can go off of one half of Dillon Gabriel. That's all I have to go on with these guys. And I think that's probably going to be it until, obviously, that's going to be it. Because if Kenny can play, Kenny will probably play.